Seeing as the guy has been referred to as the real-life Iron Man, I think practically no one would be surprised to know that Elon Musk likes to live like the billionaire he is. Elon Musk's journey from computer geek to multi-billionaire has been quite the come-up. With that being said though, once you really get deep into the guy's multi-million-dollar collection, you can't help but be amazed at just how incredible his collection can be. Mr. Musk is known for many things, with founding Tesla Motors being the most notable, that, and smoking on the Joe Rogan show. But that's a story for another day. And so, if you're interested in finding out more, buckle up because in this video, we're going to explore everything from good old Ford Model Ts to cars of the future in Elon Musk's car collection. We're looking at Elon Musk's most iconic rides, from complete bangers to million-dollar movie cars. And like Jay Leno and other enthusiasts before him, Elon's start was shockingly humble, especially when compared to today, in the form of a 1978 BMW 320i. A pretty standard used car, Elon bought it as a regular transport as soon as he had moved to the States for the meager sum of $1,400. Far from the mind-bending cars that he would later develop, the 320i was still a pretty advanced car for its time, and more importantly, it also showed for the first time the way the guy was headed. Seeing as in a later interview, Musk said that he was, in fact, the guy who fixed up the car. Did that have any correlation with him becoming chief engineer of one of the world's most incredible projects? I'll leave that question up to you guys. Coming from rather humble beginnings, Elon Musk's first car was a 1978 BMW 320i. The very vanilla motor set him back a whopping $1,400, not including the money he spent on air fresheners, mirror dice, and the junkyard parts needed to get it roadworthy. He got the car in '94 and kept it for a couple of years until '96, when he was forced to get rid of it, thanks to the wheels literally falling off. Evidently, he's a better entrepreneur than he is a mechanic. When the 320i first came out, it was the best 3 Series in the BMW lineup, and today, it's widely considered a desirable classic. When Elon made the purchase though, it was just an old, crappy Beamer that made people yawn. At least it got him from A to B and taught him the importance of tightening up your wheel nuts. Moving on, we must now give you some bad news because, as it turns out, the 320i did not last super long, and after having owned it for 2 years, Musk had to say goodbye to the car when an intern at his company drove the car into an accident. But the bad times did not last long, because soon afterward, Musk got one of his first proper self-indulgent moments when he received the bonus for the company he had founded, called Zip2, by buying a Jaguar E-Type. Elon owned a few other runabouts after his first car, but nothing worth writing home about. It was only when Zip2, the company that he co-founded with his brother, started to take off that he could begin adding some serious cars to his garage. At age 17, Elon received a book on classic convertibles, and his favorite car out of the entire book was the E-Type Jaguar. So, being the optimistic man that he was, he pledged to buy an E-Type should he ever have enough money to do so. As Zip2 grew from strength to strength, Elon and his brother both received a $40,000 initial bonus from their first investors. Sticking true to his word, Elon went ahead and spent $35,000 of that bonus on a 1967 E-Type Jaguar. E-Types are famous for their timeless styling and questionable reliability, which is why he described his as being like a bad girlfriend. In typical classic Jag fashion, Elon's broke down on the way back from the dealership on his very first day of ownership. You can buy all the fancy classics you like, but not even a billionaire can buy luck. Now, when Musk got the $40,000 bonus, instead of investing it into something new like you would usually do, seeing as he had just become Carlos, Musk decided to treat himself to a childhood dream. See, as Musk would later reveal, when he was 17, he was looking through a classic car book, as 17-year-olds are often known to do, and like anyone else who's flipped through those pages, he told himself that if he could ever afford it, he would buy one. And that's where the relatable part ends, because unlike you and me who've dreamt of a classic 60s Jaguar, Musk actually managed to buy one and drive it for quite a while. After Zip2 merged with PayPal and Musk sold the company for $1.5 billion, he bagged himself a sweet $180 million payday and decided that it was time he treated himself to a real sports car. This gift manifested itself in the form of a McLaren F1, arguably one of the greatest supercars of all time. Elon used the $1 million motor as a daily driver, using it for food shopping, business meetings, and everything in between. In 2000, while driving along Sand Hill Road in Silicon Valley, Musk lost control of the F1 when showing off to his passenger and PayPal co-founder. While flooring it and changing lanes, the 640 brake horsepower Featherlight car spun out and flung into the air after colliding with the embankment. Musk and his passenger walked away unscathed, but his lack of insurance meant that he was left with a seriously pricey repair bill. A few years later, Musk sold the McLaren at auction with 11,000 miles on the clock for $1 million, which was about the same as the original price tag. And people say that sports cars are bad investments. Now, a word to the wise, those cars, however cool they may look, are not known for being the most convenient to drive. And sure, that's good for a car collection, but driving it daily was another affair. One Elon would describe as, like a bad girlfriend. It kept breaking down on me and causing me all sorts of trouble. And so, when a few years later he sold PayPal for a historic $1.5 billion, Elon decided he needed another addition to the collection, which turned out to be none other than a McLaren F1. Now, if you're not a car geek like me, the McLaren F1 is the car that Iron Man would have dreamed of if the movie came out in the 90s. From being one of the most exclusive pieces of automotive history to being the fastest car on the road for the longest period of any modern car, the list of praises goes on and on, all of which made it the perfect car for Elon Musk. That is, until he crashed it. That's right. During an interview about the car, Elon recalled the experience. "I had it for several years, and I put 11,000 miles on it. And I drove it from LA to San Francisco, and I had it as a daily driver." And also recalled the time when he was driving with PayPal co-founder Peter Thiel when the following happened. Peter said, "So what can this do?" And like probably number one on the list of famous last words, I said, "Watch this." So I floored it and did a lane change on Sand Hill, and almost immediately, the car swerved out of control, hit an embankment, and actually flew in the air like a discus before crashing. The next car added to his collection was another jaw-dropper, and one that somehow suited him even more than the F1 or E-Type. That's right. We're talking about the famous James Bond Lotus Esprit. In 2013, Elon Musk became the proud owner of the exact car that had tormented the imagination of kids for generations ever since they saw James Bond drive the thing underwater in The Spy Who Loved Me. One of Musk's most unique purchases is his Lotus S3 submarine Bond car. The all-white Lotus was used in the filming of the cult movie The Spy Who Loved Me and was sold at auction after being found by a clueless couple in an abandoned storage unit. The couple picked the unit up along with the car for just $100. After a real good clean and polish, it went to the auction block in 2013, where Musk paid $920,000 for the privilege of ownership. The billionaire says that he grew up watching the movie as a child, so he was very excited when faced with the opportunity to actually own the piece of nostalgic memorabilia. He also added that he was a little disappointed when he learned that the car didn't actually transform into a working submarine, so he plans to modify it so that it does. Talking of the experience, he once told the Huffington Post, "It was amazing as a little kid in South Africa to watch James Bond in The Spy Who Loved Me drive his Lotus Esprit off a pier, press a button, and have it transform into a submarine underwater. I was disappointed to learn that it can't actually transform. What I'm going to do is upgrade it with a Tesla electric powertrain While to the ears of Elon, that might sound like a deal breaker, you must also understand the fact that the guy bought the car at an auction for a whopping $920,000. Okay, I know this is an odd one. Iconic isn't exactly the first thing that springs to mind when looking at the behemoth Audi Q7, but what it lacks in exclusivity and appeal, it definitely makes up for in practicality. Musk is a family man after all, and I don't think a two-seater V12 hypercar is quite going to cut it for the school run. Couriering the kids aside, the Audi Q7 is an important car in Elon's lineup for one very particular reason: doors. Musk says that he doesn't particularly like the Q7. It's big and relatively quick for a fatty, but it's so huge that getting in and out is always a challenge. When designing the Tesla Model X, Musk was inspired to add falcon wing doors, so that when parked in a tight spot, it was always easy for passengers to get in and out. Thanks, Audi. Moving on to some slightly less interesting cars. First, we have the Audi Q7, which, as it turns out, directly led to the famous falcon wing doors in the Tesla Model S. This was a result of the horrible way the third row was accessed by climbing over the middle row. Or, as he put it, in the best-case scenario, you need to be a dwarf mountain climber to get into the back seat. One car that was surely not a disappointment, however, is a Hamann BMW M5 driven by Elon for a small period of time in 2007. This baby is to a standard BMW, what a BMW is to a Corolla, and goes to show just how important it is to Elon to have a fast car. And while it can't compete with the sheer brutal speed of his modern cars, with a monstrous 603 horsepower 5-liter V10, I doubt the thing felt slow. If you're a BMW fan, then you will know all about the work of Hamann Motorsport. The executive car modifiers take already awesome cars and make them just that little bit better. I'm talking wide body kits, suspension overhauls, and custom exhaust systems. Everything that you want when looking to stand out from the crowd. Elon Musk's Hamann BMW M5 also seems like an odd pick for a billionaire, but the car does offer the best of all worlds. It's spacious, luxurious, stylish, and stupidly powerful, to name a few. M5s are well known for being supercar killers. Their business car looks are deceptive, to say the least, and the 500-plus horsepower can crush the unsuspecting Ferrari or Lambo with ease. And as it turns out, that's not the only time that Elon has been seen driving good old-fashioned horsepower, because he's also said to have owned a few Porsche 911s. In fact, in the case of the 911, Musk has actually admitted just how much he enjoys driving the German car, quoting it as one of his absolute favorites to drive. And that finally brings us back to the last unusual car on the list, a pristine 1920 Ford Model T. In 2007, Elon surprised many fans by saying that he had just become the proud owner of one of the most influential cars of all time.